think we're live. Good evening. How are we all? Just making sure everything's working. I think it's working. Good evening, Paul. It's very warm today. Apparently things are feeling a little bit clunky at my end, so I do apologise. I think my computer is running quite hot. Good evening, Baz. Do let me know if you can hear my tunes, or if you can't. Sound balancing is always a difficult one when you're doing it natively. Good evening, Alexander. Good evening, Sickjeb. Hey, Marty. We're doing another hobby hangout today. Just checking to see that it's all in focus. It looks like it is. I'm woefully underprepared. Sweden is cold as usual. Boo. Just close that down. See if that helps with the CPU. I think it does help. Yeah, we're I'm in a bit of a quandary today, guys. I'm not entirely sure what to hobby for you. There's a number of options that we've got. I thought I'd put it to you guys as to what it is that we did. So yeah. Option number one, I guess. So option number one, we've got a Primaris Captain here that needs painting. He is a Crimson Fist, so he needs doing. Good evening, Chris. So he needs doing. We've also got a bunch of Razorbacks that need building. We've got a Bloodletters recipe that needs figuring out before I film it for all of you. Good evening to you, Mini Painter Meg, as well. So yeah, I'm just do let me know what you'd like to see. Those are your options. Do you want to see me build Razorbacks and complain about building? Paint a Primaris Captain, a Crimson Fist Primaris Captain, or manually try and figure out how I'm going to paint Bloodletters? Those are your three options. I really like the Kragnos video you did recently. Are you planning on doing one when you paint Archaon? Yes, of course. If I, as and when I paint Archaon, I will definitely film it. Video output is encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings or using a faster encoding. Crimson Fist or Bloodletter recipe. I've heard you complaining about building enough for one lifetime. Well, you can never hear enough of that, right? Bloodletting soup recipe could be fun. It could be fun, couldn't it? I get asked quite a lot how I do my recipes. So it could be fun to come up with it, right? We could do it live. It's live tutorial. Right. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to be back in a couple of sort of like 10-15 seconds because I'm just going to mess with the settings on OBS and then I'll come straight back because it's just saying you're getting a really choppy playback apparently, and I don't like that. So I'm just going to mess around with it for 2 seconds and then I'll be back in just a minute. Okay. Is that any better? I think we're back. Are we working? Looks like we're back in the room. Is that better? That's what we like. Yes, it's very, very warm in this flat. What we need is a very expensive computer. I have a Mac that's wonderful for editing on, but not for streaming on. So, we took a poll, Crimson Fists or Bloodletters, and I think doing the Bloodletters is probably the one that seems to be winning out. So, let's do that live then. Let's figure out a Bloodletters recipe, shall we? And for this, we're going to require my phone. So we're going to get some high-tech streaming on the go here. Because we need this app. Citadel Color app. This is always where I start. So I believe a question that was asked of me on Instagram earlier today was, how do you come up with your recipes? And I say I like to put in an hour's worth of research. I'm not going to put in an hour's worth of research tonight, but this is part of it, right? And I always like to look at this app to figure out what they do, and then I basically convert it into contrast using my eyes and my brain. So, easiest thing to do is to look at paint by model. And that's very bright. I wonder if I turn the... Is that easier to see? Yeah, it's a little easier to see, isn't it? Right, so let's start by seeing if they've got it in here. Bloodletter, yes. Okay, so we only have the classic method in here. They don't have a contrast method for Bloodletters. So let's see what they say to do. Chaos Black, Mephiston Red, base coat black, fiery black areas. Where are they? Okay, so they go with the Mephiston Red. And Evil Sun Scarlet and Wild Rider Red. That looks like that's what the skin recipe for GW's classic Bloodletters method is. So knowing what we know about contrast paints, right? If their recipe is for Scarlet is this, and we'll check it out: Mephiston Red, Caraberg Crimson, Evil Sun Scarlet, Wild Rider Red. Yeah, it looks about right, doesn't it? So knowing what we know about contrast paints, Mephiston Red is easily translatable into Blood Angels Red. Are you thinking something similar to what we did when Contrast first launched? Yes, sort of, kind of, yeah. Kind of a little bit. Because the other thing to bear in mind when looking at these guys, at these Bloodletters, and everyone's seen Bloodletters before, is that looking at them, whilst Mephiston Red would be fine, not Mephiston Red, Blood Angels Red, there's a bit of shadow and shade in there. They're definitely warm. So warm is Wraithbone, 100%. We don't want them to be cold. So, bit more, better, and plus. Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, this is part of it, guys. I know it's boring, but this is part of it. So, I've painted mine with Wraithbone. So there's a Bloodletter. Now this isn't a good example of a Bloodletter because they've got the gold on the top, because there's the horns as well to figure out, because they kind of do this red into black fade. But we can deal with that later. So, we've determined our first colour, which is going to be Blood Angels Red. So I need a painting handle. There's my painting handle. So, what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab my pot of water from the other side of the room. So much technology. Let's just do that like that. I've just realised. Blood Angels Red, and we need a paintbrush. Paintbrush usually helps. So, here we go then. Give Blood Angels Red a good shake, because we don't want it to separate, which I often find Blood Angels Red does. So we're gonna get that open. There we go. Right, here we go. So knowing what we know about the horns of a Bloodletter, it goes from red to black. So I'm just going to do the whole thing red. That's what I'm going to do, apart from the sword. So let's just start with that. I'm just going to load the brush up, because he's quite organic, you see. So this is another thing about like kind of figuring out the recipe, is I don't need to kind of be really calm and methodical about doing this, because there's so many recesses. If it was a Space Marine, I would be thinking, right, I need to, that is way too much paint, but that is just about enough for, you know, kind of doing a whole section of Bloodletter. So here we go. Let's just start whacking this on there. And one of the other things I quite often talk about is kind of balancing how much paint you have on your brush. So at this point, that's not enough paint. You see? It's still damp, but it's not wet. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab some more. I just want to get this, as I say, all over. And I'm going to try and just kind of finish my sections as I go, because I don't want it to dry too quickly, because then I'll get it a scratchy finish, which is definitely not what I want. And sometimes, like when you're doing these first base coats, you make a mistake by kind of splodging it somewhere and then not continuing that section as quick as you possibly can, especially in this kind of heat. And that's where you'll get a line. The trick is to find places to leave it. So like right there underneath his head, that's alright, we can leave that now. We can pick it up back here at that crease in his waist, which is another place that we can just kind of leave it. And we can come up and do that bit. So as you can see, there's no kind of drying scratch mark on his back there because of where we left it. We left it by a recess. So now I can come and do this arm. Get under there and do his pits. We can do that. We'll just do his hand for now. It's easier than trying to avoid it. There we go. I'm just going to check it over. It's just, if I'm going to do it, do it. You see what I mean? Just mop that little bit of excess up in the palm of his hand so it's not all blotchy. Go. Marvellous. Grab some more Blood Angels Red. I'm going to do this section now. Get around here and do his arm. Marvellous. Make sure we get around and do the hand. Now I've missed a little bit just in there. So now we're going to come under and do the neck. Like that. Going to colour in the spines as well. Like that. As you can see, I've got splodges on here, so now that's what I'm going to do next. It's just to fix those. I want to do that whole under section. Very nearly there. Make sure I'm not completely gumming up his eyes. That would be bad. Make sure not to miss his chin. Just using the kind of paintbrush to just wick it out if it is kind of clogging it up too much. And then we're gonna just do the horn as well, because we know that's going to fade into black. But we don't want to do that now because we're just getting our initial base coat on, because we're still in the figuring out phase. Lovely stuff. I don't know if you've noticed, that's actually now too much paint to do this last final section. I'm always kind of going with the grain of the model. You don't want to, for example, across a horn like this, you don't want to go left to right across it. You want to follow the whole horn along with the contrast paint. You'll get a much smoother finish if you do that. So like, for example, on the leg, you want to kind of go from top to bottom. You don't want to go across the leg. You want to follow the leg. Just follow the model. There we go. So it's time to check out the chat whilst we wait for Mr. Bloodletter to dry. We can think about the next part of the research. Next part of the colour scheme, at least. Pop him there like that. Right, what's going on? Sick Jab, did you get your Dominion box ordered? I certainly did. I most certainly got my Dominion box ordered. I nearly bought 2. And then I didn't want to be accused of being a scalper, so I didn't. Also, you know, they're not multi-part kits. They're push fit. So when Dark Imperium came along, I bought 2. And then realised that, you know, when the multi-parts come out, they'll be so much better. So I just... Every time when these things come out, I don't bother. So yes, but I nearly bought 2. Good evening, Atto, the 40k home. What? I love your username so much. What hobby is everyone on with? I'm building brutes for the next stage of Tale of Many Warhipsters. Excellent, Chris. Atto's cracking on with his Van Sar gang. Excellent. So much telling of the tales. I guess I'm telling the tales of Warhipsters tonight, aren't I? Painting a Bloodletter. I did promise a fistful of bloodletters. Don't worry, I will be doing a proper tutorial of these guys. I'm not painting all 10 tonight because, you know, if you're excited to see a proper tutorial, what we're doing is we're doing something I don't often do, which is market research before I do the tutorial. And it might even be that once I've done this, the tutorial changes, but this is good for good practice. And also, you know, you don't want all your bloodletters to look exactly the same. Hey, hope you're doing well. Will you be doing a tutorial on Belladonna, or Radikar the Beast? Love the content. I'd love to do both of them. I just need to get a hold of them. And I don't have the cash. Just got done. Oh, you guys are chatting to each other. Not painting tonight. Got pattern cutting to do for another project that's on the go. Well, I'll keep you company whilst you're pattern cutting. And make you feel... Of course I'll make you feel better about it, Chris. Remember, though, I'm a Stormcast guy, right? So, like, I don't have many models in that box. Whereas for the Hobgrots and things like Hobgoblins and things like that, you want... Having duplicates is fine, because you're going to have so many of them anyway. It's like, you don't want to have 2 units of 10 Assault Intercessors look the same, but you're more than happy to have 40 Necron Warriors that look the same. It's just, you know, it makes sense. I've got my gang. I was sorely disappointed by Vanguard for that reason. By Vanguard, do you mean the Shadow Spear stuff? The assembly line is ready. Yes, mine's not ready. I need 10 painting handles to do an effective assembly line. It's taken from the Cypress Hill song, "It's the K." Of course it is. Oh man, I feel stupid now. Is the music still playing? Yes. True North by Trevor Kowalski. Okay. Can everyone hear the music, or is it too loud? Can it do with going up a bit? We don't talk about how many Necron Warriors someone may or may not have from Indomitus. No, we don't talk about that, do we, Chris? How are we getting on, Mr. Bloodletter? He's drying. It's working! Demonetized. I hate you, Warhipster. We've actually missed a bit. Right in his nethers. Don't know if you can see it. Just under there. Just gonna grab a tiny amount of Blood Angel's Red. Just add that in there. Okay. It's quiet, but it does mean we can hear you fine. So you can hear me all right. So if I turn me up a little bit, and then I turn up my fascinating beats just a little bit, Because it's a party in here. Don't know what this song is. Our Secret Universe. Because some of these beats are fantastic. Don't know what this is. Running an Assassin's Creed costume tutorial alongside my Mandalorian armor series on my channel. Well, that's very cool. my Necrons are also on the shelf, part of the Dust Dynasty. I need to finish them. I just don't have time. Have to move on to the next thing. Busy bees. He's still drying. I don't like to use hair dryers to dry this stage. Sometimes, like when I'm doing like metallics and stuff and they've gone on, I'll occasionally use the hair dryer to speed things up. But at this stage, you really don't want to kind of disturb what the contrast is doing, because at the moment, as you can see, it's darkening down nicely and it looks pretty awesome. I'm really enjoying how this looks. It's getting there. It's nearly dry. Be a few more minutes and then it's done. Back in the shed, Monolith. I hope you have a bag that has just got Monolith written on the side of it. Perhaps that's how Necrons should be measured. In like a bag of Necrons. Like how I was talking about how demons should be like a fistful of bloodletters. You know, fistful of bloodletters, an armful of nurglings, a bag of Necron warriors. What are you bringing to this game? I'm bringing a bag of Necron warriors. That's what I'm doing. A toolbox worth of wraiths. I don't know. Oh, dearie me. Right. Now that he's nearly dry, let's look at some product photography. So I'm going to turn the brightness up a little bit so I can see it a bit better. There you go. Marvellous. That's not a great picture of a bloodletter, so we will look at bloodletters. Bloodletters. I can't spell. A nose full of nurglings. Oh, I've taken a nose full of nurglings. Demons of Corn. Here we are. Right, let's have a look. What have we got? That's the same picture. Give me a different one. There we go. Right. So now what we do is we look at the product photography and we try and figure out what they've done there. Now they've used, like I said, they have used Carroburg Crimson, but I think we could use Flesh Tearer's Red as a little glaze type thing to give it some real depth in like certain areas, like for example on the chest and around the kind of pimples and stuff. But I'm thinking to add a little bit of shadow in there. Maybe we use some Gore Grunter fur, but thin it down a bit. Let's try it. Let's try it. I think it'll look cool. Let's just move that off the desk. What have we got in the chat? Yeah, I'm glad you're here tonight because France plays against Portugal. Yeah, I know there's some big football games going on tonight. I was going to stream yesterday, but then I remembered that the England game was on, and, you know, I wanted to watch that, but Also, just, no chance in this country. Do anything other than stream the football. Streaming instead of the football. Um, uh, are France losing to Portugal? That's pretty spectacular. Oh, this song's a tune. Yes, right. So we want to add a little bit of warmth in here. I'm not gonna. I am gonna try it with Gore Grunter Fur and some contrast medium. So I'm gonna go and get that for some warm shadows. Yeah, that's right. I've just had another thought. Instead of using that, we could just try it with that. That will give us some warm shadows, that's for sure. Let's try Dark Oath Flesh. Because Dark Oath Flesh does have a kind of red quality to it. A reddish quality to it. So we'll just use that. We'll try that. So we'll just take it straight from the pot as well, because it should have quite a pleasant interaction. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add it in here. Like that. I'm also going to add it over his chest. And his neck. See what I mean? It has a kind of... That's really nice. I like that a lot. And this is just kind of, like I think we've said already, so just adding a little bit of warmth in there. Just adding a little bit of extra shadow. Just breaks up that red. Makes him look a little less kind of vibrant and full of warmth. So we'll add this on the head as well, I reckon. We'll take it down to about there. And about there, like that. Put it down on his face too. Bring it out on the horn just slightly. Like that. What do you think, guys? I think that looks lovely. Beautiful. Because it's just the right shade of it, you know what I mean? I think just having that Dark Oath Flesh, add a little bit of that kind of fleshy pink in there, but also Just a bit of brown too. That looks really nice. I'm really pleased with that. Excellent stuff. So, we'll just wait for that to dry. Because now the question is, how does one go about highlighting him? Now, it is a bloodletter, so theoretically, when you're painting bloodletters, if you're painting for 40k, you're painting, what, 30 or 40 for a bloodletter bomb? Or, when you're painting them for AOS now, you might be painting 120 of them, but I doubt that you are, because of the way the reinforced units work now. I don't know. Rich Gwatkin Gaming. Rich, if you're still there, what do you reckon? Tell me how many are in a bloodletter bomb. You'll know. Is it 30 or 40? Have a Nurgle army waiting to be painted, so hoping for a Plague Bearer tutorial soon. Well, there will be a Plague Bearer tutorial, because it'll be part of my tale of many Warhipsters. So we've got the bloodletters up first, because, you know, that Dark Oath Flesh is drying out really nicely, can I just say? That looks really, 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 really nice. I'm really pleased. Evil Sons to Wild Rider. So, the thing about doing Evil Sons at this point is it won't do very much. Because Blood Angels Red naturally has an Evil Sons-esque highlight when you put it on. So I know we put that Dark Oath Flesh on there, but Evil Sons won't do enough of a transition for it to really stand out. So the question is what do we want to do in terms of how bright do we want him to go? We could do straight to Wild Rider. Bloodletter bombs are usually 20 or 30. Yeah, so, because this is the other thing I'm trying to bear in mind. I do this sometimes, is that when I'm painting models that I'm like, how many of these are people actually going to paint? And therefore, does the tutorial make that easy, or does that make it impossibly hard to do? Because no one wants to paint 30 or 40 Blood Angels, 20 or 30 bloodletters to the highest possible standard. So it's basically, can we make it look as high as possible, but can we do it simply? And that's why I'm really chuffed not having had to use contrast medium at this point, because we just got that really excellent finish on that skin. Wild Rider to Fire Dragon Bright. It's a good idea. So here's the question I'll put to you. At this point, would you dry brush it or would you layer it? It's a hard one. Because it might be that we do something like Wild Rider Red as the highlight for the muscles. And we do Fire Dragon Bright on the kind of pimples. I do know your feelings on the subject. Dry brushing would be effective here. There's a lot of texture in there. The only worry is that you don't... is that you miss the wrong bits, as it were. So within the Bloodletter, you've got all this area on his back. That's nice and textured. And we don't want really stark highlights. That's why we've added that Dark Oath Flesh at that stage, because that's adding some shade rather than adding it as a glaze afterwards to kind of tie everything together. So realistically, on the muscles, I've lost my train of thought. Dry brushing is my go-to highlighting method. I like dry brushing. Big brain. Let's see what the app says. We know what the app says, don't we? I've already looked at it. Scarlet. They say to do Evil Sons and then Wild Rider. Dry brushing on the muscles. I keep saying muscles. I'm not an idiot. It is muscles. I know that. Just got some smush on there. Dry brushing on the muscles in a circular motion, then maybe some layering on the speckles. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let's go with the dry brush. Let's do it. Let's do it. And then I'm gonna grab all my red options. Brush. So we have returned. So I've brought across Jacaro Orange, Squig Orange, Wild Rider Red, and Fire Dragon Bright. I'm actually drawn towards Squig Orange over Wild Rider Red because it's a little bit darker. You can't really tell on the... Oh, terribly sorry. Do you see what I mean? But like, Wild Rider Red's got that slightly warmer side to it, but he's already quite warm. So we're going to add a little bit of coolness in it. I wonder if Squig Orange is... Cause I think Jacaro's too pale, looking at it. Or maybe just go straight in with the... I get away with learning on some colour schemes and on certain parts of my model, but let's be honest here, not being able to differentiate colours tends to lead to nightmare scenarios. Yes, it definitely does. The way I'm looking at it is I've got an option for a warm and a cold dry brush. I am leaning towards Wild Rider Red, just because that's what the scheme says to do. So let's give that a go. Get out of here, unused paints. So we can get my tissue paper ready. So I'm going to use a STC brush. I'm a big fan of this dry brush. Oh, God. Adam and Rich do like to send me some fun things. Right, here we go. Wild Rider Red. Let's do it. STC brush. Right, let's see what... Yeah, it's the new Citadel synthetic brush. Right, here we go. So I'm just going to be very careful here. So I'm just going to run this over the top of the pimples on the back. And also over the top of This, so that doesn't really appear to be doing very much. I mean, it's strengthening the highlights. That's kind of what we wanted it to do, but it's not giving us that spot. So that's okay. We'll again do it in a circular motion over the muscles. Don't need to do that over the hand. What do you think, guys? Yeah, it's making it nice and consistent, isn't it, on that top tone actually. So it's quite a subtle effect, but it is just adding a little bit of brightness in there, which is always a nice thing. Yeah, pretty pleased with that. What do you reckon, team? Give that a quick wash. Squeeze it to really dry it out. There we go. So it definitely needs another dry brush. So Wild Rider Red's made kind of added that consistent tone at the top, but now we need to go a little bit paler. And I think Fire Dragon Bright might not be the right one to do, but we'll give it a go. And this will be really gentle. So for the sword, I'm going to do the traditional black with a kind of red outline. I think that looks really cool, the kind of flaming blade, as it were. So we're using Fire Dragon Bright here. Make sure we get most of that off. And then just very gently. Around the sharpest areas. It's kind of just concentrating this mostly around the pimples. Yeah. Grab some more Fire Dragon Bright, I think. like those spines as well. I'll do that shoulder. I want to do this area as well. It's quite a soft effect, isn't it? There's not a lot of hard highlights going on here. It's quite pleasing. There we go. So now I'm thinking now that that's done, what we can do is just inspect it. Yeah, I think that looks good. Quite pleased with that. So I think what we can then do is we can use some Lugganath orange, because I'm in love with this paint right now. Or, hey, we can use Cadian Flesh Tone. Because Cadian Flesh Tone is great on red. So what I'm thinking is we take that Cadian Flesh Tone. It's a very old pot of Cadian Flesh Tone, this one. We thin that down with some water. And then we grab my smaller brush. We use this to add some little spot highlights here and there, so that we could, for example, around here on the shoulder, just pick out some of those pimples. Again, you could dry brush this, I suppose. This just adds a little bit more variation in there. We don't have to do all of them. Can even add a little bit of it to these. Fins at the back. What do you reckon? You can also just use a little bit of this to highlight the face as well. I think that looks really good. Pick out some of his chest spots, his chest acne. Let's pick out his head acne. Chatney, Hackney, Backney. The unholy trinity. Absolutely. Oh, we've got some here as well. Some fins. You see, I'm not picking them all out, I'm just picking them at random, basically. I think that looks really good. Apparently I've broken the horn. Treat myself to some Artist Opus brushes this weekend. Excellent pull. The Series M set. Cannot recommend it enough. Get all 4 sizes that are fantastic. Pureed Cadian, that's exactly what this is. I do have another pot of it. I used to back stock it because I used to use it so much, and then contrast happened. Reminds me of the number one source of food in the Underhive, which is corpse starch. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Made by workers, from the workers. Mbwebwu. Mbwefwu. It's like Fubu, but not. I think our Bloodletter's looking pretty awesome. So, we need to do that horn now, don't we? Now, I suspect the simplest way of doing this is to use red and black at the same time. Typically when you want to fade to black, right? You want to use black. Alright, we'll give it a go. But I think instead of Blood Angels red, we use Flesh Terrors red. Flesh. Black Templar. I'm getting my exercise in today. So I think the method here is Flesh Terrors red and Black Templar. And that'll give us that fade out. So what we'll start with is Black Templar. We'll go straight from the pot. And we'll take this down like about a third. So we'll just add it down to there. And same on the back. Just make sure we've done the inside. Because that's the part we want to be black, right? Give that brush a wash. Grab that Flesh Terrors red. And then where that meets, bring it down. Bring it down. Wash the brush. And then just do that where the colours meet. Try and kind of smooth it out a little bit. Just absorb that heavy blob there. Let's actually grab a little bit more Black Templar. Just add it in there like that. So it kind of fades in. I think that works. Try it again on the other side. Black Templar. That's way too much. Down to there. To there. Bit of Flesh Terrors red. Oh, yeah, we want a clean brush to just do that. And then we'll leave that to dry for a minute. See how that looks. What we're saying is we're aiming at Flesh Templar here. Yes, Flesh Templar. That's exactly what we're after. It doesn't look too bad, does it? But I think you're right. Who said it? Dark Oath Flesh. Atto, yeah. I think we add a little bit of Dark Oath Flesh once it's dry. Just round there. And that'll sort it, no problem. Just letting it dry. Oh, we're going to get the dance anthems out now. Let's catch up on the chat. Kataro, it's my favourite time of the week. Oh, thank you. This guy is not quite contrast only. So far we've used Blood Angels Red and Dark Oath Flesh. We've used Flesh Terrors Red and Black Templar. And we've done a dry brush of Fire Dragon Bright and Wild Rider Red. And we've done a little spot highlight on the skin with some Cadian Flesh Tone. That's what we've used so far. What glue do I use to assemble my models? I use Citadel plastic glue. Because I really like the little stick applicator. And I like it even more ever since someone told me if it gums up and it's blocked, you just hold it with a pair of clippers and use a lighter to heat it up and it'll clear the passageway, no problem. And it works because it's metal. If it was plastic, it wouldn't. Hi, this Yonka? I've just realised I probably butchered that. Hello to you from England. Hello to you in the Netherlands from what is now gradually darkening England. He's definitely looking pretty awesome. He's looking pretty swish. Have I tried Tamiya glue? No, I haven't. Is it good? What is it? Does it come with a stick or is it like a brush applicator? Because it takes me so long to glue things, I need something that I can clear, like with the lighter. Because sometimes like I'll be gluing something like Kragnos and it'll take me 4 hours. And when it's hot like this, it just gums up. So I have to be able to pop it. Because I did have some, I think it was Humbrol plastic glue a long time ago. And that had a plastic applicator. And it was a nightmare to try and unclog it. Ah, with a brush. Someone drop a link to some... drop your links to our glue, to your glue of choice in the chat, and I'll have a look at them. Thought I was doing a bong for a second. I wish. No, not anymore. My days of that are behind me. Close enough. My name is pronounced like Dice, but starting with a T. Tice. So Tice Yonka. Is that right? Is it a soft J? Tice? Tamiya extra thin with brush applicator. You'll never look back. There's a lot of people telling me to go to navigate to defect to Tamiya. Super glue, I use Gorilla Glue. I used to use Citadel glue for that, and it was just an absolute nightmare. The tiny little packets of super glue that you use them once. And you'll either use the whole thing doing an entire leg of a Horus Heresy miniature, or you'll use a little bit of it, you'll seal it up, and then you'll come back and use it. Gone. It's done. Wow. Jump ship to Tamiya, that seems to be the thing to do. Alright. There's my plastic glue. I do love, for example, that's how gummed up mine is already. Ugh. So that's probably going to need clearing. So perhaps using a brush is probably the right thing for me. One of the things I tend to consider is how easy it is for me to get hold of it. And I usually consider this by doing a test. It's basically, can I go out and get it? So if I needed to go out and get some super glue right now, I can. I can just run up to the superstore and get some Gorilla Glue. Whereas and the same thing kind of applies for hobby product, right? So like, can I just go out and get it right now? Well, no, everywhere's closed. But if on like Saturday I go and I've ordered a mini and I didn't realize it was resin. When that happens, I like to run out and just be able to buy it. As long as it's within like a 2-mile radius, I can walk it or whatever. I have to plan ahead for things like Tamiya, and that for me is like quite often what happens is, for example, with paint, I will I know that needs replacing, but I'm gonna keep using it until it's nearly dead. It's nearly dead anyway, but with paints, I'm like, can I get it easily? Generally, I can get Citadel stuff at the drop of a hat, because I can just run up to the Games Workshop nearby. Whereas things like P3 and stuff like that, it's slightly harder to come by, so I have to plan for it ahead. And if I have to wait like 24 hours, 48 hours, that kind of thing, in order to be able to do stuff, sometimes that can throw a real spanner in the works in terms of what I'm currently working on. Alright, let's have a look at those horns. They look pretty damn good. I'm rather pleased with that, but I think you're right. We're going to use a little bit of Dark Oath flesh. We'll use that around the base of the horn, just a little bit. Just to kind of smooth that out a little bit more. In fact, we'll take it into where we got the Flesh Terrors red. Like that. $442 characters. Blimey, O'Reilly. I'm really pleased with how that's come out. Do, 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 do. Oh, it's so hopeful and lovely. Oh, we've actually missed a bit on the leg. So I'm just going to use this Cadian flesh tone that I've got thinned down just to... sort that out. Do the same on the other side just to make it part of the scene. Do do do. So, what we'll do is we use a little bit of Black Templar, just as it is, to do the toes and the fingernails. It's fine if it just goes over the red, because it will just cover it. Just make sure that I'm definitely doing it in the right place. Yeah. Such a tiny little detail as well that it won't matter that it's got a slight red hue to it. Like that. I'm going to do it down there as well. Lovely stuff. And that's our used pile right now. So what we got? We got the tongue. We got the teeth. What colour do they do their teeth? I'm going to look it up on the computer. Do 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 do. Taking forever to load. Here we go. Got my pictures. Give me my pictures. Now give me some closer pictures. There you go. Okay. I think we could do them with some green. What do you reckon? Some little green eyes. I think that could really work. Oh, I've got an idea. Just a little dot. Yeah. Just as a real little spot. Do some Gauss Blaster green. See what that looks like. Helps when you don't do that. Where's my doohickey? Over here. Yes. Okay, crisis averted. What I am going to do is just use a little bit of Black Templar to neaten that back up. Like that. It's actually quite a pleasing effect with that Black Templar around it, so I'm going to do that on this one as well. So when it comes to the filming of said video, I'll do that first. I think that looks really strong. That's really cool. There we go. Got the eyes done. Is that a bit of schmutz? Is that mist? Yeah, it's mist. Use a tiny bit of Black Templar to clean that up. Just in there inside the horn. Like that. So now it's time for those teeth. So I reckon that's a skeleton horde, jobby. Ooh. Right, let's have a look at the picture again. They've got a purple tongue. Yes, I thought they did. So, shyish purple for that. So we'll use skeleton horde first. And we'll use that all over his teeth. Like that. And then we'll use shyish purple on the tongue. We got all of it. little too much shinish purple on there for my liking on the tip. So we'll do that like that. Then when we highlight it, that'll really bring that back out. Do and do. So now we've just got the sword to do. So again, let's look at what they do. Tell me, internet. So they've got a black wrap on theirs, on the sword grip. Not no much a fan of that though. Is it black on all of them? Looks like it. Oh, apart from on the leader. The leader beast. Maybe we can go for... Or let's just go for shinish purple. That'll look nice on there. Trying to think to myself, what looks black but isn't black? Careful. Squeaky bum time. Do just this bit here as well. Like that. Wonderful. Right, sword blade. What have we got? What have you got for me? So there's this black fading out to a orange. Okay. Would Warhipster do a video where he builds a model and paints it to show the full process? I certainly can do, if that's something that you guys are into. I guess we could possibly do that with Dominion, but then it's not really building, is it? It's pushing stuff together. So here's the question. How do we achieve this sword blade? I think we're going to have to do some blending. So, it kind of has an orange tip and a reddish edge by the looks of things. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to coat the whole thing in orange, in Griff Pound Orange. And then we'll use Black Templar on contrast medium to give it a blend. But we won't do it at the same time just because we want that black Templar to be stronger. Let's do that. Where's my contrast medium? Where have you gone? Did I bring it over with me? My contrast medium has gone walkabout. No, it hasn't. It's right there. Okay. So, here's what I'm thinking. Paint me a sword worthy of Be'lakor. Oh, God. I can't do the whole Be'lakor thing. Right, here's what we do. I brought Retributor armor as well because we're going to do some gold. But we're going to do Gryph-hound Orange. Give that a good shake. So what we do is take that Gryph-hound Orange. And we want to start at the base. Might be a little too much Gryph-hound Orange on there. So start at the base. And then just in one big brush stroke, put it all the way out. So we get a nice thin finish. Thin finish? Smooth finish. And just try and pick up any little bits that we miss off. So we've got a little dark spot there. Don't want that. Just going to use the brush to move it. Like that. Do the same thing again. Go right down here to the base. Just put it up in one smooth motion. Like that. Just check the other side in case we pulled on it, which we did. So we're just going to very, very carefully and very quickly just use the tip of my brush to just move those darker bits around. Just absorb the excess, as it were. The underside here is a little bit thick for my liking, so just going to glide my brush over the top and pull that excess and just pop it on my hand. Similarly on the other side. Just like that. Just going to pick up that pool as well at the base as well. Don't want that. Marvellous. So we'll just wait for that to dry for a few minutes. I reckon there's a call for showing people how to deal with those sorts of push-fit models to avoid gaps and other issues like we saw with Soul Wars and Indomitus. Oh god, yes, the gaps. Yeah, no, we can actually. It's a good idea. The assault intercessors was tricky pushing together, rip some of those arm pegs. Yeah, they were so tricky. I depegged so many of the Necrons. I hated building the Necrons. They were so fiddly. Cussity was the same. Had to cut a few of those pesky pegs off. I think there was one I had to cut a few pegs off of. Contrast medium came into shot and waved as you were looking. Did it? Oh, maybe. I've got it here. Tricksy contrast medium. How dare you? Contrast medium came into... when is the next Conclave episode out? I do not know. For that you will have to ask either Rich, Adam, Quipster or Ed. I think they recorded at the weekend. Not entirely certain. The Eradicators from Indomitus were fiddly as well. Getting the gun to line up with the left arm was an unnecessary hurdle to overcome. The thing I really struggled with Indomitus was the Outriders. Stuff like that does my tattling. The prosecutors from the AOS 1 gore box still stand in my mind as a real horror source of easy to assemble the models. None of you will know this, but Chris has built those prosecutors from the AOS 1 box several times. And I think there were two separate occasions, when he was building two separate sets that I came across him doing it. And I've never heard a man descend into madness like that before. It was so funny. That box was terrible for building. It's night and day though, right? Like, compare AOS 1 to AOS 2, and then compare AOS 1 to AOS 3. The Stormcast. Jeez. How far it comes in, what, 6 years? That gap in the Outriders. Ugh. It was so bad. So bad. I think with the Outriders, you definitely have to clip. We've got... every single time. It was very funny, though. Okay, what are we doing here? Are we dry yet? Not quite. So we've got orange on that blade. So what I'm thinking for this blade is that we do black up to here, up to kind of that spike just there that my finger's touching. Then we use contrast medium to just pull it out the rest of the way and smooth out that transition. It might be that we have to use a little bit of extra Gryph-hound orange just to reinforce that colour, but that's what I'm thinking. That's how I'm going to get there. Just waiting for that little bit under there to dry. Just want to make sure the whole thing's dry before we do it. Hello, Adam. I don't know how long you've been here. 5-minute 40k ADR Wargaming. Go check him out. There was a question about when the next Conclave podcast will be out. So if you could answer Ramshot for me, that would be lovely. Ba-doo, 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 ba-doo. Okay, here we go. So we want Black Templar. We want Gryph-hound orange just in case. And we want contrast medium. So here we go. This might be a complete mistake. We'll be able to fix it, but... So we're going to take that Black Templar first. I'm going to start at the base. And similarly to... I'm going to put it out to around about that spike, as I said. Like that. Wash the brush, then take that contrast medium. And just where the colours meet. Just pull it out. Just kind of feather it out towards the tip. Kind of like that. We'll actually grab some Gryph-hound orange just to sort that a little bit more. There we go. So I've not moved quick enough there. It's already dried on the sword. That's annoying. So just grab some Black Templar. Put that in there. I'm going to use Gryph-hound orange here. Use clean brush. There we go. Doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look brilliant though. So we'll use Black Templar again. The inside. Let's go all the way to the tip and see what that looks like. Then grab Gryph-hound orange. Oh, that looks much better. There we go. That's how we're going to do it. There we go. Look at the inside. There. Compared with the outside. It's not the end of the world. Let's try adding a little bit more. To it, just to... So we can fix this with a highlight. It's not awful. It's better on the underside there. So I just need to wait for that to dry. So a highlight, like I say, a highlight is going to fix this, but that's a bit... I'm glad we found the recipe that way though. That looks great, the inside. Looks perfect. So I suspect we can fix it using... Because we don't want to go straight in with Fire Dragon Bright. So we'll try Squig Orange. Here we go. Just like that. Do the same thing on the inside as well. There we go. So now if we use Fire Dragon Bright, this might resolve some of the issues that we've got with that outside part of the blade. So we just use this kind of as a spot highlight, this Fire Dragon Bright. So we need to be really careful down here, down the like that. Just add a little bit more of it to some of the spikes as well. Oop. See, now that's a mistake that we definitely don't want there. So what we're going to have to do is going to have to take a little bit of Black Templar and just very carefully on the top of where I've just blobbed that. go. Now what I've just had a thought is I could just take a small amount of Black Templar, pop it on my palette, and just add some contrast medium to that. 1, 2, 3. Make a nice thin Black Templar. Then just use this to thin out, or rather smooth out that transition a little bit more, so I'm a little bit happier with it. Like that. Now I'm happy with it. Just add a little bit more. There's actually a tiny bit of it down there as well. Like that. And then what we can do is we can use a small amount of Lugganath orange just at the very tip. Get some of this up on the palette. That. There we go. Saved it. Hey, Archaon. Someone was asking me to paint you earlier. What do you reckon, guys? Good sword? I'm really happy with how that's now turned out, with that just that little bit of Black Templar on there just to smooth that transition out. We've got that fixed, no problem. Is that worthy of Be'lakor? Rich? Do I generally prefer wet blending or layering? Layering. It's just easier. Much easier. But when it comes to doing things like these, it's just, you know, I don't like the hard... what I don't like doing is kind of having to go make the glaze and then layer it, layer it, layer it, layer it, layer it. I much prefer doing that on the that kind of blend on the sword. It just helps to have the recipe right. So just have to remember that you just do Black Templar all over and then use Griff Charger, Griffhound Orange, Griffhound Orange on that tip just to fix that. Whew. I was sweating for a minute there. Thought I was going to lose my crown as the contrast king. Well, but he's very nearly done. What time are we on? 10 o'clock. How long have we been going? How long have we been streaming for? Roughly 79 minutes. Okay. That's not bad. Someone should be writing it down. No, I'll just watch this stream back. Don't you worry about that. Right. Dingo, gonna have to head off in a bit. Thanks for the hangout tonight. See everyone next week. Yep, see you next week. Things that fall out of my head. Thank you for stopping by. So we're just going to use Retributor armor for this gold, because in all the box art it is always a lovely warm gold. $119. Okay, so nearly 2 hours. Okay. That's not bad. I might just keep going until I've finished him. He's not far away now. So I'm just going to use this gold here on the sword hilt. Just like that. Cheers guys, to make life easier, I go by Ross, bit easier than the channel name in full. It's a bit easier. I did know your name. I just, you know, I just forget. I'm terrible with names. But thanks for hanging out, Ross. It's lovely to have you, as always. Gonna add this Retributor armor down here as well. I think there's a rune on his leg, isn't there? Yes. Should that be gold? Oh, I don't know. Crisis of confidence. Let's have a look at the box. Oh no, it's just red. Okay. It is literally just that. Oh, and any kind of horn protectors. Okay. We'll just let that dry for a few minutes. I'm really pleased with this this Liberator. Bloody hell, this Bloodletter. I'm really pleased with how he's coming out. So you can tell me all the football scores from tonight. don't want to Google it because that seems rude. Tune into my Warhammer stream to watch me Google who won the football. 2-2 on both games. Oh, come on now. That's just silly. Are you dry, Retributor Armor? No. Some people somewhere's had a good sports. France 2, Portugal 2, Germany 2, Hungary 2. Yeah, blimey. So who does that mean England are going to face now? Germany. Definitely Germany. Well, it was a good tournament, guys. I look forward to Tuesday when we get to watch England get knocked out by Germany on penalties. I can't see that not happening. Oh, man. Right, what do you reckon? Dry? Right, we're going to shade it with some Fire Slayer Flesh. Because that's my favourite. And it always looks lovely. I mean, that's all the coverage in the media over the next 5 days, 4 or 5 days, 6 days. It is going to be about penalty shootouts. I guarantee you. And all the questions that the team are going to get asked is, are you practicing penalties? Because, you know, you lose to these guys on penalties because you guys suck at penalties. Even though they broke the curse last year. Last tournament. I think, if I remember rightly. They won a penalty shootout. It was a big deal. But guarantee it's all we're going to hear about over the next few days. Can England win a penalty shootout versus Germany? It won't be about can they beat the game. Guarantee you. Right, there we go. That's shaded. So, I think what we need to do now is we need to add some highlights to... Because we've done the sword, we've done the skin, we've done the face... So we need to do the teeth, the tongue, the horns, and the gold. So I reckon... Actually, let me just have a quick look at the Games Workshop web store again and see what they've done. Okay, they've done some little highlights on it, not the whole way down. That makes sense. So just doing like a Dawnstone down. So a little bit of a Dawnstone on there, and a little bit of it down there. That ought to work. So that's the black. For the tongue, I reckon we use something like Slanesh Grey. And then for the gold, we'll use Liberator Gold. That's what we'll do. Oh, to the paints! I shall sidle off screen again. have all of my paints. We're back. Did you miss me? Okay. I brought some Administratum Grey as well. Get out of here. So we'll use Dawnstone first. And we'll get that out on the palette. Add a little bit of water. And we're just going to add teeny tiny little Dawnstone highlights on the sharpest areas. So a little bit there on that horn. And a little bit of it there on that bit. And then we'll just bring some of it down. About halfway, I reckon, because we'll use some Administratum. I'm just going to lift some of that off though. It's a little strong. Might have to just take it all the way down. Oh yeah, that makes sense. We'll take it all the way down to there. Like that. Do the same thing on this one. Like that. We should probably add some of this to the claws as well, now thinking about it. Just those sharp edges. Like that. Reet. Time for bed for me. Busy day tomorrow. Take care, everybody, and I look forward to catching up with you all next time. Thanks, Warhipster, for a great night. You are very welcome, Marty. Hi, Jamie. Welcome to the stream. Now we're going to use some Slanesh Grey. On the tongue. Might as well, again, do it all the way. Just like that. On either side of the tongue. Just want to get some under here. Like that. I think that makes it look sufficiently horrid and chaosy. Just grab a little bit more Slanesh Grey and just add it, some of it there. like that. Perfect. Can you put the finished Bloodletter in the community tab on here so we can see it all in all its glory? Yes, I can do that, Chris. I certainly can. That's that bit done. Then we give it a good shake. Use some admin grey. Put that on the palette. Grab a little bit of water. Then we just add that to the tips of those areas that we did with the Dawnstone. So we're just going to add a little bit of it there, like that. And a little bit of it like that. Add a little bit to the end there. And we'll add a little bit of it to the end up there. Like that. And then we'll just scrape off that excess underneath that we didn't want. And we can actually also just, again, just add a little bit of it to the ends of the claws. Just like that. We're nearly there, guys. Nearly there. So now we're going to use Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to highlight the gold. On there. Water. Just going to pick out those edges in the gold. Like that. Marvelous. There we go. And that is a finished Bloodletter. What do you guys think? And that's how we figure out paint schemes. A lot of trial and error, a lot of thinking about it, a lot of cussing. Or grumbling under my breath, as it were. And that's taken what? 2 hours? 20 minutes? I'm very pleased. Be'lakor shall have his friends. I have to take some pictures very shortly. I have to try and remember what I based Be'lakor with. How did I base Be'lakor? Who can remember? Because that's how I'll have to do. Well, I don't have to do it that way. You know. I'm guessing they'll take even less time when you're not figuring them out as you go. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. They'll be a lot quicker. Because I think there was about half an hour's worth of guessing there. So I think probably 2 hours a model. I mean, it won't take 2 hours a model because, like I said, now we've figured out that sword recipe. It'll be very quick. I've got all the colours in front of me as well. There we go. And you know, for a Warhipster tutorial, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 20 paints. 20 paints all in. That ain't bad. The only one we'll have to sort of... The only one we won't have to sort of mess about, we will have to mess about a little bit with, is the banner bearer. This one. I'm going to do another unit with the flag itself, but this one just seemed easier. It's Icon of Wrath? Icon of Blood? Bloody Banner or something? Sorry, football and child bedtime battles overtook Warhipster. You are absolutely fine, Andy. And I won't have to wait for them to dry when batch painting. I think we've done an exceptional job on this Bloodletter. I'm genuinely shocked. I'm not really. Yeah. Yeah, with the batch painting, because by the time, obviously, you've done the Blood Angels Red on all of them, you're coming to the end, right? Let's look up Warhipster Be'lakor. This is how I check how I did things. I just Google my own stuff. How did I do your base? Because I want him to do the same. Okay. So I did Astrogranite debris. Followed by something. What looks like Black Templar? No, Basilicanum Grey. And then probably Tyrant Skull, let's face it. Yeah. Okay, Astrogranite debris, Basilicanum Grey. That's positively Spartan. Indeed it is. I've built sub-assembled 3 brutes this evening with half-blurred instructions from Reddit. Now that is some serious hobby right there. Aren't contrast paints meant to help reduce the number of paints needed? Yes. They are, and I make everything complicated. I mean, there is an outside chance that when I do when I film the video itself, that I will drop the Wild Rider Red. Because whilst it's nice, if that Blood Angels Red goes on fine, it's not needed. I think it's the Cadian Flesh Tone and the Fire Dragon Bright there that's doing the work. Particularly on those spines. On the back. There we go. One whole Bloodletter, start to finish. I've just got nine more to do now. So next month, I know, Rich, you're asking for Plague Bearers. I haven't got any Plague Bearers in stock. What I do have is... Chris, you'll be happy to see this. I do have some Demonettes. So, I might do these next month. Because I'm aiming for one of all. I've got horrors to do as well. I don't own the horrors yet. I was going to get Atazan's Burning Cavalcade. Because it's really good for horrors. Interestingly, I think using that same colour palette, you'll be able to do Skull Taker as well. But there we go. There we have it. Did you yeah, pinks, blues, and brims to do all in one bash? Yeah, and it's only 50 quid for Atazan's Burning Cavalcade, rather than, I think it would be £45. No, that's less. Rather than being like 60 or 70 to get everything that's in that box. It's a really good deal. I do need to finish the Mega Gargant. Yes, all right. Battle Sanctum, Mega Gargant, Void Dragon, Marathi. I need to finish. Well, I need to start Croak. The other thing I need to finish is this father-daughter team. Now they took a little bit longer than two hours and a half, but I was really exceptionally pleased with these ones. Look at them. If I could grow 4 more arms and an extra head like Kairos Fate Weaver, I would 100% be there. I would do 2 tutorials at the same time. But alas, I cannot. Well, there we have it. A Bloodletter from start to finish. Did you enjoy that format of this hobby hangout? Because I'm more than happy to just, you know, sling paint and models at stuff. No, I'm more than happy to just sling paint at models that I'm currently painting. But I really enjoyed doing that kind of almost live tutorial type thing. Don't worry, I am going to film the Bloodletters, so you don't have to just watch this version of it. You can watch a Warhipster produced tutorial for Bloodletters. And I'll do that once I'll paint all 10, and we'll see. But I think that is a top job. With Atrazan's Blazing Cavalcade, you get the Herald on Chariot plus the Exalted Flamer from that kit for free, saving you £27.50. There you go. £77 worth, 50 worth of product for 50 quid. It's a really good deal. I want to get that one and the Plague Bearers one. Are they called the Harbingers of Despair or something? Or Decay? Something like that. Can't remember. It was great to watch you problem solve live. No, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'm glad we managed to fix that sword. It's a little curved there, but that's alright. That's fine. It's not 100% perfect. That side is definitely 100% perfect. I love that. That side's fixed. So it's not quite there, but... Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something that kind of is almost a teaching thing live. Almost. Sort of. The Primaris Captain would have been fun. Because that would have been more theory based, but I know all of the colours for that, so it would have just been Invidian Plague Host. That's the one. Yeah, I know all the colours I'm going to be doing on that Primaris Captain, so... SC Demons of Nurgle is also a good shout there. Yeah. Yeah. I really what I need is, like, my vision for my Tale of Many Warhipsters army is, basically I've got Be'lakor done, he's the leader. Then we want... a unit of each of the 4 gods. So we want horrors, we want bloodletters, we want demonettes, and we want the plague bearers. And then from there we can either add more of each to them, or we can add some special units, which is kind of what I intend to do. And then I need a deputized general for each. I'm trying to paint 50 GSC models by Sunday night. Bloody hellfire. 50? 50? Crikey. I think a mix between one like this where you need to concentrate less and can chat more would be cool. Okay. Okay. Good. We have an accord then. No, I really enjoyed this. Thank you very much. Oh, and I completely forgot to mention. It's all right. Next week, we've actually turned on. I have turned on Super Chat. Here, so you know, if you enjoyed this and you'd like to support me, you can give a small donation using Super Chat, but you do not have to. Absolutely not. All I ask is that the thing that really helps us out is subscribing, liking the video, and things like that. But yeah, I completely forgot to mention Super Chat was a thing. Good YouTubing there, Mr. Warhipster. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed doing this one for you. I will take a picture of this guy and I'll drop him on the community so you can see what it is that we did. Just one more go round of the Bloodletter. Doesn't he look fabulous? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. We are going to leave it there. It's been 2 hours and a half now, so make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, share it all around. Let's keep pumping the channel up to get to that 10,000 followers, subscribers mark. That's what we're aiming for. That will make me a very happy hipster. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining in. I love reading the chat and chatting with you guys and hanging out and answering any questions that you have. We'll be doing this next week, and I suspect we'll do it on Wednesday again because England are playing on Tuesday. That's why. So there you have it. I'll see you all very, very soon. Yeah, thanks for watching.